The Sinai
Bible that Billy Carson was lying about, Wes Huff is also blatantly lying about.
The earliest copies that leave out the longer ending have an unusual feature. The copies of these earliest manuscripts leave deliberate blank sections, a feature we don't find them doing at the end of the other Gospels. This is an indication that the scribes appear to have been aware of further material after verse 8.
That was a Billy Carson level bull crap lie.
They leave a space in case their decision turned out to be incorrect, and a later scribe could add it. This means that further text beyond the end of verse 8 was at least known in copies prior to these earliest surviving examples, and we know this evidence exists.
I'm going to play the rest of this video for you, but there are a few things I feel like need to be said before I do. Ever since Westley Huff caught the fame wave, after first his debate with Billy Carson, that then pushed him into the limelight so that he could get places like Joe Rogan and then a dozen other prominent podcast stars. I think on one hand, this is really good because Westley Huff is an extremely educated individual. I would call him a scholar. I've been following his stuff for quite some time, so it was very interesting to see him go from being this somewhat modest YouTube scholar to being just swept away by the fame wave. I say it's good because it gets the word out there. We have this guy going somewhere like Joe Rogan and preaching the gospel, trying to defend the gospel. He's practicing apologetics. The thing about it that is somewhat dangerous is that no scholar has all of the answers. No scholar is totally correct. And no scholar is without mistakes, or sometimes worse. So this video is a good example of why we should not hitch ourselves, our beliefs, our perspectives, our opinions to a single individual and look at them as the foundation of our entire view of the Bible, of Christian history, and of theology. When we look at this with a wider lens, biblical scholarship, we know this is a large place full of some of the brightest men on the planet when it comes to things like Christian history, textual criticism, theology. Yet we also know at the same time, scholarship is full of a bunch of people who do not agree with each other. So what then happens if people become obsessed with an individual like Westley Huff, and then Westley Huff obviously adheres to specific beliefs and perspectives on Christian history, on theology, on textual criticism? What then happens to the people who listen to him, who see him as the ultimate authority? Well, then they become pigeonholed into those things. When on the other side, in scholarship, we have people who are just as smart, just as educated, and probably much more educated than Westley Huff, who don't agree with some of the things that he says. Biblical scholarship is not a united front, just like Christianity is not a united front. We are divided in every possible way and at every possible level, from the lowest levels of the churches to the highest levels of scholarship. So I hope that this acts as nothing other than a nudge to just remember that, to remember not to hitch ourselves to a theologian, to a scholar, but instead to broadly take information, to aggregate all of that information and see where we individually land. It is insanely dangerous for us as the mere Christians trying to learn to become hyper-focused or fixated on a specific scholar. And this is a good example of why.
And we know this evidence exists.
We know this evidence exists, he says. That was a Billy Carson level bull crap lie. Where he's, and it's funny, the funny part about it is he's talking about the Codex Sinaiticus right now.
According to the Sinai Bible, Jesus wasn't crucified in that Bible.
Do you mind if I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
When you say the Sinai Bible, would you be referring to Codex Sinaiticus?
And
The Sinai
Bible that Billy Carson was lying about, Wes Huff is also blatantly lying about. This is not just his opinion that I disagree with. This is an objective statement that you can go and check for yourself. Here on the screen right now, here is the Codex Sinaiticus of the Acts, Luke, Matthew, Mark, John, Revelation. All the endings you just saw, all of them have a space at the end.
Where are those long endings and short endings?
Yeah, not only that, Codex Vaticanus, Mark, Matthew, John, Corinthians, Acts, Revelation, all of them have a spacing at the end. Codex Alexandrinus. As I was going through and adding the manuscripts to the video, I realize that the top manuscript Westley Huff uses for his argument that the gaps at the end signify that Mark should have the longer ending blew my mind to find out that the top one is, in fact, the 5th century manuscript Codex Alexandrinus that does have the longer ending. So Westley Huff is actually throwing on the screen the manuscript with the longer ending that has the longest gap out of all of them, not even realizing that he defeated his own argument by showing that the manuscript that does have the longer ending has an even bigger gap at the end, defeating the purpose of this argument to begin with. Codex Alexandrinus, Mark, Matthew, Luke, John, Romans, Corinthians, Acts, Revelation, all of them have a space at the end.
Do you see what I'm saying? If it wasn't such a hidden secret, if it wasn't such a conspiracy, why make up something like that blank space as if Mark has a special blank space for its purpose to have that additional ending of theology? It's still affecting us 2,000 years later in the church. They're still haunted by the lost ending of Mark, it seems to me.
If you don't know what they're talking about when they're referring to the longer ending of Mark, I recently did a video on this, so I'll put it in a card right above my head. Hopefully you found that at least kind of thought-provoking. If you did, and you are into this kind of thing, you should come hang out in our Discord server. There's a link to that in the description below. It's just a bunch of people who are into weird theological, biblical history, and ancient text types of things. So if that is you, you would probably get along just fine. We do a number of live streams every week. At Live Bible Study is where we hold some of those live streams, and here on this YouTube channel at Tattoo Theist is where the rest of them are. But if you make your way on over to Discord, you can just click the events tab. You can see each individual event with its corresponding link to the proper YouTube channel. So very easy. As usual, I feel like I have to give the disclaimer that I do not wish to sway you. I do not have hopes of pushing you in my direction. I have every hope of presenting information and leaving it completely on you to figure out where you sit, what you want to believe, and what your perspectives are. I would just really urge you, the same way I urged myself, to not zone in or focus too harshly on individuals, to focus on data, aggregate data. I feel it is the safest way for us to come to educated conclusions. Hopefully I did not rock any boats too hard. I love you guys. Have a great day.